Hello and welcome to the Flipping and Wholesaling Houses in New York show. I'm Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to start flipping or wholesaling houses in New York, or if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. So we're going to talk about the big question, right? How to get into the wholesale real estate business in New York. So there's a lot of ways to get into the business, but the real problem that I find, and I speak to hundreds, if not 1,000 people who are trying to get into the business, is that they're getting their information from people who are not doing business in New York. And there are a lot of people who are not doing business in New York. A vast majority of the business being done, and that people, gurus or teachers online teach you, they're not doing business in New York ever. And these are great people. These are not people who are trying to screw you, scam you, steal from you. These are people who generally want to help, but they've never done a deal in New York, nor will they ever do a deal in New York. So step one is to learn from, as crazy as it sounds, I think the only person teaching how to do this in New York, which is me. Again, at the risk of being immodest, I can't find anybody else teaching how to do this in New York. I found one guy on YouTube who was an attorney, and there's a couple up in Albany, Glenn and Amber Schwarm, who I think are successful people, and they teach it up in Albany. But in the New York City area, you got me, and that's it. So what do you do? So let's assume you have been watching my videos and you've been learning the things that I'm teaching, and you learned all about all the differences in New York, like the fact that you don't bring a contract to an appointment because the seller's attorney writes up the contract, or there's no inspection contingency in New York because inspections get done before the contract, or there's no such thing as an investor title company in New York because title companies do not run the transactions, an attorney does. Forget about all that. Let's say you know that. How do you get into the business? So we're going to talk a little bit about the steps to get into the business, and at the end I'm going to sort of teach you where you may be able to jumpstart that a little. Okay, so the basic steps to get into wholesaling are the same steps in any place. You're going to get a list of potential sellers. Now, a lot of those lists are harder to come by in New York than they are in other states. So most counties will give you a list of tax delinquent properties or code violation properties. You can't get those lists in New York. Very hard at most places in New York to get those lists. But you can get broader lists. So I work on broader lists. So the only place I recommend you get a list from a prop stream, and I have a link in the show notes in the YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're watching it, notes, to use my prop stream link. I think I'm the only person that gives a discount on prop stream. It's $97 a month, but if you use it for 3 months, I'll give you back 10%. And there's listability. There's also a link there you can get there. PropStream is a great tool. I recommend everybody really use PropStream unless. So, well, let me take a step back. PropStream has an advantage in that it also lets you comp out properties. If you're a licensed person, you may not need all the things that PropStream does, but you still can get PropStream for a month, pay $97, and get a list of 10,000 from it. The other option is listability. Listability is a straight list provider. Their data is probably a little better than PropStream, but you're going to pay, let's say, $500 for that same list of 10,000. That, again, all these lists should last you 4 to 8 months. So the difference of a few $100s is not going to make that much of a difference. But PropStream is a great tool. I recommend a lot of people use PropStream. It's helpful. Now, once you have that list, what do you do with it? So you need to then, all that gives you is addresses. So the next step is for you to skip trace the list, which means get phone numbers for the list. Now, there are a million places to skip trace. Here are a couple of rules about skip tracing. A, do not use some unknown source for skip tracing. So don't find some guy on Fiverr who says he'll get it for you for 3 cents. Big mistake. B, there are plenty of great skip tracing companies. Batch is a good company. There's all kinds of good companies for it, right? If you want, I use Skip Genie. I use Skip Force also. Skip Genie is like for a deeper dive, but I use Skip Force, where if you want to send a list to me, it's 8 cents a hit. I think that's the cheapest skip tracing anywhere for great data. You can send me a list and I'll skip trace it for you. The reason why you don't want to go straight to Skip Force is because they usually charge a monthly fee, and I already pay the monthly fee. So again, you can skip trace anywhere, but you want to skip trace a list with a reliable source. So now you have a list and you have phone numbers. Now the truth is you can skip the whole skip tracing step if you just want to mail the list, right? But the most important rule of mailing is that whatever you're going to mail, don't mail it less than 6 times. And I know that sounds counterintuitive because you think, well, if somebody needs to sell and I'm going to send them a postcard or a letter, why aren't they just going to call me back? And it's just not the way it works. I swear to you, I learned this the hard way. It's just not the way it works. Mail as in every single marketing channel, is cumulative and is built on momentum. So somebody who really needs to sell may not contact you until they get their 5th postcard from you. And people keep mail, so it lasts longer. So I've gotten calls from people who said, I got your postcard 3 years ago. But mail is expensive, right? If you have a list of 10,000, let's say, and you want to mail postcards to it, that's $4,000 each time. And if you need to mail it 6 times, that's $24,000. If you're starting out, I'm going to assume you're not going to spend $24,000 to figure out if your list was good. So assuming you're not going to mail, you need to skip trace and get phone numbers. And then you call and you market to these people. You can call them, you can text them, you can RVM them, ringless voicemail them. There's a lot of things you can do with them, but you want to contact them with the same simple message, right? I get people calling me all the time. I'm calling probates and I'm telling them that I'm sorry for their loss. You never ever want to talk about the problem that you assume the seller has. I'm calling pre-foreclosures and telling them you're going to lose your house. Never. The only message you want to send to prospects is, hey, I'm looking to buy properties in your area. Do you want to sell? That's it. That's the only message you want to send. And guess what? A vast majority are not going to want to sell. Let's take it a step back. From your list of 10,000, you're going to get, and you skip trace it with any good provider, you're going to get multiple phone numbers, right? You're going to get, let's say, 20,000 phone numbers, because a lot of some up to 3 phone numbers. A vast majority of those phone numbers are going to be wrong. And of the ones that are right, a vast majority of them are not going to own a home. And guess what? A vast majority of the ones that own a home have no interest in selling. And a vast majority of the ones that do have an interest in selling are not going to sell to an investor. And a vast majority of the ones who want to sell to an investor are not going to sell to you. I tell people from a list of 10,000, if you marketing in the beginning of for 6 months, you can hope to get one deal, really over 12 months, one deal. So a lot of people give up quickly, right? Because they just say, oh, the list sucks. I suck. People are not interested. People are telling me, why are you calling me? You have to have the mindset that this is a real numbers game. It's a funnel. You have to kiss a lot of frogs to get that one prince. But think about it. One deal can make you $20,000, $30,000. Isn't it worth it? Isn't it worth it to deal with all those people who tell you to drop dead, all those people tell you to screw you, take you off my list? It's worth it. And it's cumulative. So after 6 months, you get another list, an updated list, and you're going to call those people. And what you're doing on the way is you're building up a pipeline of leads. People that just said, yeah, I'm thinking about selling. People said, maybe I'll sell in 6 months. That's most people are going to say. Guess what? Most people are not going to say, I need to sell tomorrow for any price. That's not what they're going to say. You can say, you know what, I need to sell, but I heard I can get $400,000 for it. And you're going to look and say, shoot, I can only pay $300,000 for it. And you're going to try and get an appointment. And in the beginning, you should go on every appointment, even if the person says they want full retail, because you want to get more comfortable talking to people, trying to help them. And on the appointment, if you book an appointment, you're just trying to determine if they have a problem you can solve. That's it. You're not trying to take advantage of them, not trying to screw anybody over, you're not trying to get them at their most vulnerable. You're simply trying to determine if they have a problem you can solve. And guess what? If they want $100,000 more than the retail price for the house, you don't have a problem. They don't have a problem that you can solve, because that's not something you can do. You can't pay that, right? If they don't have any real motivation, or they don't have any real reason not to list the property, they're probably going to list the property, right? And if you're not licensed, you're not going to get that deal. Again, as an aside, I tell everybody to get licensed, so you can maybe get those deals and get licensed. I take listings. You want to get those listings and monetize your leads in that way. It's another topic of discussion. We're not going to get that now. But those are the steps to get into the wholesale business in New York. A, learn from me, because no one else teaches how to do it in New York. B, get a list, a broad list of people likely to sell. So I have other videos where I talk about what list to get. So absentee vacant's a good list. Older people that have lived in the home a long time is a good list. People that are under economic distress for different reasons are a good list. You can get these lists. Get that list, skip trace the list, call the list, either yourself or pay someone else to call the list, or text the list, reach out to the list with the same message every time. Hey, I'm interested in buying. Are you interested in selling? It works. As stupid as it sounds, it works. Between 6 and 10% in any market in the country of the properties that sell off market, usually to an investor. In our area, at least my area, it's more than 10%. There's a lot of properties selling off market. So the question is, why are people selling off market? There's a million reasons, right? They had a bad experience with a realtor before. They have timing issues where they don't want to be beholden to a buyer's timeline. The property's in horrible condition. They're embarrassed to let anybody see it. The property is in such bad condition they feel that a retail buyer would not get a loan for it. There's an uncooperative tenant in there that you can deal with, and they're willing to sell it at enough of a discount that it makes sense. There's a lot of reasons why people sell to investors. Just understand that they all exist and are real, even in New York. So you reach out to the list constantly, nonstop, keep marketing to the list, and then enough people will say, maybe I'm thinking to sell, or yeah, I want to sell, and go on those appointments, see if they have a problem you can solve, make them an offer. Enough offers you make, and if you make enough offers, you will get some deals. Those are the steps to get into the wholesale business in New York. I hope this was helpful. Now, the way I said that to sort of jumpstart is I sell a course, which I created in 2020. I think I'm going to revamp the whole course soon. So if you pay for the course, you're going to get the new course also. So don't worry about that. And there's a link to the course. I think it's howtoflipnewyork.com/course. And there's a discount. I'm pretty sure there's a discount coupon if you're watching this. And that will help you. It's maybe too much. The reason why I want to revamp the course, I think I gave too much information and people get overwhelmed by it. I want to maybe cut it down to pieces and say, just watch this before you start. So the course will help a lot. I guarantee it. Also, if you want other ways that I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com. If you are watching if you're interested in coaching, go to coaching.howtoflipnewyork.com. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on any platform, please like. The thumbs up really help me. I hope. And keep the comments coming. There are no bad comments, so any comment you ask, if it's a simple answer, I'll just respond with an answer. If it's a topic I've covered maybe multiple times, I'll send you links to the videos. And if it's a new topic or something I haven't covered in a while, I might do a video on it. But I hope this was helpful. So thank you very, very much for watching.